and I know some people in family law, people like this shift blaming back and forth, and they file these crazy frivolous domestic violence counts against other people. What happens if somebody has caused the domestic violence to somebody else, and somebody calls? Like, what things do you look at to help them if a domestic if the attacker or the alleged attacker, better said, called you or called the firm? Um, how could they be represented if let's just say let's say it did happen, and then and then let's say it's a fraudulent, not fraudulent, but let's say it's a bogus claim. If we can look at both sides of the fence.
Well, I take all comers, which is to say, if somebody comes into my office and says, I've been charged with domestic violence battery, this question will never come out of my mouth. Did you commit the domestic violence battery?
Sure.
So some people are in a position where they did, okay, and some people are in a position where the alleged victim, or maybe not even the alleged victim, maybe a third party, is pressing the claim for some ulterior
motives,
reason,
which we've seen that.
which happens for all sorts of reasons: to gain advantage in child support, to gain
Yes.
advantage in divorces, um, and at the end of the day, there's always issues of proof. What we really want to know, what I want to know, isn't whether or not anything happened, but could the state prove it? So what I want to know is what evidence is there that a battery occurred. And remember, in Florida, we have a very powerful stand your ground law. So the question is, A, was the alleged victim battered? And B, if the alleged victim was battered, uh, was it a case of mutual combat or self-defense on the part of the defendant? And remember, the state has to overcome that. So it's very, in my experience, it's very difficult frequently for the state to overcome that. Domestic violence charges are some of the most common, probably outside of traffic charges, they are the most common misdemeanor charges that we see.
Okay.
Domestic violence charges are very common, and the reason for that is because law enforcement feels they are under an obligation to make an arrest when they're called. So they're very aggressive in making the arrest, and once an arrest has been made, the case takes on sort of a life of its own. So we get these a lot, and they're frequently very marginal cases. Now, again, we guarantee nothing. A case could be open and shut, and if that's the case, uh, my job is really to get you the best deal possible.
Okay.
Frequently, in these cases, diversion is available. If the state can prove it, you can take diversion. If the
Okay.
state can't, but I'm not going to push any client to take any deal at all, because frequently these cases are very marginal, and a lot of them end up getting dropped by the state. The state drops, I would say, in my experience, the majority of the cases once an attorney comes in and presses them on it.
Okay.